Good evening. This is Kenny Tan. I'm very pleased and excited to be here to be live streaming with you guys on the April 2021 Real Estate Market Update Southern California edition. Tonight we are live streaming to 5 different platforms, 2 on YouTube channel, 2 on Facebook, and 1 on Twitch. On YouTube, we have our The Real Biz Academy, which is our official training channel for agents that speak the English language. And also we have 建有地产贷款培训 for agents that prefer to speak the Chinese language, but they also speak English language. And then we have the Facebook, my personal network, and then the Chinese landlord, 北美房东交流会 Facebook group, as well as Twitch. We're still trying to make an impact on Twitch. Now, let me first say hello to everybody that I know it's in the chat room. We got Justin, we got Joe, we got Howard, we got Nick. We got some of your name I can't really pronounce, so sorry about that, but I'll try to learn it next time. We got Delana, we got TM, we got Carrie, we got Amanda, we got Kathy, we got Kevin. Hi, welcome, Kevin. All right, we got Amanda, we got Kathy, and then Kevin. What else we got? We got Hannah, and then we got, oh yeah, by the way, Lisa and Mello and Joanna and Maria. If I missed you, I did not do it intentionally. I certainly put your name on the screen so everybody knows you're here. Okay, now first of all, let me introduce our guest for this evening. Now we'll be talking about real estate market in Southern California. Who else is here? All right, we got Amy, okay, from Roseville. Thank you, Amy, for attending. And who else we got? We got Brandon here. All right, Brandon from the Arcadia area. Okay, we got Maggie from Fremont. And of course, we have Mariella. And we got Lean. Thanks for attending. Lean from Monterey Park. Okay, many of our regulars are in the audience, so that sounds great. Let me first introduce the guest for this evening. All right, the attendants, the attendees keep pouring in. Oh, Tanya, oh, from San Jose. All right, Tanya, welcome, welcome. Okay, our first guest for the evening is Alek Tan. Alek Tan has been with Centermac Realty for 5 years or longer. He's one of the few original students from my class, and he's been with me for 5 years. Excellent, excellent agent. He is a millennial. So as you can see how young he is a millennial. All right. So Alek, he is from the Diamond Bar Walnut area. Tonight he's going to be sharing with us some interesting discussion on the recent transactions that he was involved in. 1031 exchange. I'm sure a lot of you guys that have not done a 1031 exchange will be interested in hearing what Alek have to say tonight. Okay. Uh, and then our second guest, everybody knows her by now. She's from our San Diego area. Her name is Jean Riley, also an excellent, excellent agent. I can't say enough about her. She's got a lot to share with us. So she is guest number 2 tonight. Okay, without further ado, let me go ahead and give the stage to Alek so he can start talking to us. All right, Alek, I'm giving you the stage. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what you're going to share with us tonight and then take us into your content for tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Kenny, and hello, everyone. I'm going to talk a little bit about the market, a little bit about the Hacienda Heights market, and then about 1031, and then end it off with what you can do to improve your buyer's offer. Kenny, are you able to put the slides up?
Of course. Let's go ahead and forward
Here we
the
go.
slide. As you can see, he is a Centamac agent and specialization, he does a buy and sell experience, 1031 exchange, staging, and photography. All right. Okay, take it away.
So yeah, so what Kenny was talking about is I'm a realtor for over 5 years, based in LA, but I travel for my clients across LA, Orange County, and Inland Empire. So I'm super mobile, and as a millennial, I'm really good with technology. So a little bit about my background before going into this market is that I have experience in flipping homes, remodeling, staging, photography, even Airbnb superhosts, working with clients to purchase their first home, commercial leases, and even financial planning beyond just real estate transactions. So I really do pride myself as a millennial, always being available to my clients, responding quickly, and I find it very important to stay on top of the market. So I'm able to predict the fluctuations to keep my clients safe from all legal aspects and be there every step of the way. So I do recognize that we've entered this coronavirus lockdown. There's a lot of uncertainty on both sides, and a little bit of background. Back in March 2020, I was already in the middle of escrow as a listing agent, where both the sellers and the buyers were uncertain about the market. So questions they were asking, should we continue with escrow? Should we let the buyer cancel escrow? I've walked my client through the scenarios and explained the options calmly, reviewed the contingency removals, and I pushed forward with closing escrow. Turned out both the seller and the buyer were very happy. So I bet in hindsight, it was the best decision too. So looking at today's hottest national housing market, it's definitely a good choice. So with so few homes in the market, I'm sure there are a few home shoppers praying for the LA housing market to crash, even though long-term trend of prices keeps going up and up. So here on this housing snapshot, we have the Southern California housing, where we see existing home sales increased 23% year to year, which is a 16% change year to date, meaning that home sales increased compared to last year with the median home prices at $705,000, up 20% compared to last year. So the market has a lot of anxious buyers picking up properties as soon as they hit the market, getting the offer accepted, and opening escrow within 8 days on the market. Kenny, on the next slide.
Of course.
Thank you.
All right.
So sales growth of existing single family homes is bouncing in a double digits, where a lot of transactions are happening as high as 23%. This means that sales activities are where most of the tension is at. Means there's more lending activity, more home searching, and more homeowners getting keys to finding their forever homes. This is mainly due to the housing shortage of inventory, record low interest rates, and a buying frenzy. Unless we have some kind of like magic where we just all of a sudden stock up on inventory with new homes, there's little reason to expect a crash in the LA housing market. For the next slide.
Of course.
If you're curious about where most of the California home sales activities are occurring, almost 50% of real estate transaction activities are happening in Southern California as of March 2021. And if you break down the prices in three price ranges from $0 to $500,000, that sales growth decreased 32%. But from $500,000 to $1 million, taking up majority of the sweet spot activities of sales growth at 42%, and sales of existing homes over $1 million pricing has 26% compared to the previous years. So this means homes that are $500,000 or more are where most of the sales activity is happening. Next slide.
Of course.
Where if you review the California median price from 2005 to now, the median price as of March 2021 is at $759,000, up 24% from the previous year. It's still a seller's market, and home prices have reached new record high due to tight supply. Next slide.
Of course.
So hypothetically, if there was a crash caused by this rumored coronavirus related foreclosures and everyone had to sell at the same time, then prices could drop. However, with the continued government support to keep us out of another Great Recession, most of the homeowners are qualifying for the mortgages based on their incomes, and they have a larger equity cushion than average homeowners. As mentioned previously, the biggest driver is this 30-year mortgage rate, a fixed interest rate that home buyers would pay if they were to take out a loan lasting for 30 years. So this shows that mortgage payments have had the largest growth. The pandemic, in this pandemic, the job losses mostly haven't touched the high income earners. So we're seeing a lot more savings increasing and these folks are seeking out homes. So it also helps increase more sales with technology. Being millennial, there's a lot of video tours happening, either recorded or conducted, making it increasingly easier and comfortable for a homeowner or future homeowners to buy a home on a property that they have not seen. But as a listing agent, I still prefer no blind offers. Next slide.
Yes.
So in Hacienda Heights is where one of the recent sales that I've had, but I want to tell you guys a little bit more about this place. There is a population of 55,000 folks in this eastern part of San Gabriel Valley, known as the second largest city by population in LA County. They also have like top public schools, flourishing retail centers, and it's really great to raise family in this beautiful hillside city. Hacienda Heights real estate market is actually very, very competitive. The median list price of homes was $728,000, trending up 10% from 2020. So the list price per average per square feet is about $423, excuse me, and the median sales price was at $485,000. This is a data point that was just across 95 homes for sale in the market. So on the next slide, you'll see
Yes.
that given that the trends, this does validate my recent Hacienda Heights transaction at 1534 Hinnon Avenue, where I was the listing agent and it closed and sold last month. This was also a 1031 exchange, which I'll dive into a little bit deeper. In this market, I looked at the comparables of this property to prepare for the listing, and I thought we were on the high side of listing this at $549,000. So that's about $558 per square feet. Then I received over 15 offers within the first weekend and open escrow within 8 days, ultimately closing this deal at $581,000, 32 over asking. So I was able to not only help my client facilitate the 1031 exchange, I was also able to get them over asking. Next slide.
Of course.
But I think for most of the folks here is, what is a 1031 exchange? 1031 exchange is a huge benefit for the sellers, but not to be treated as an investment but to be treated as investment property. It's got its name from the IRS code section 1031, where you may actually defer your capital gain taxes by swapping one investment property for another investment property. Interestingly, in this case, if this is your first time performing a 1031 exchange, you can still take advantage of this IRS code. This beautiful Hacienda Heights home that I worked on was owner occupied and was purchased years ago. And this is the first time they want to perform a 1031. So converting from an owner's occupied to an investment property. So what happens after you close escrow, perform 1031? Can the owners live in this investment property? The answer is no. So what's even more interesting is that where did the owners go? They already had another property to live in. So we were able to actually close on investment property, and they were able to rent it out afterwards, and then they have the second home to live in. So another fun fact is, with the 1031, most folks think that you can buy a like for one property, but you can actually purchase two or more properties in 1031 if you choose to, even if others stipulate that it's only for one. And the benefit of 1031 exchange is having a specialist throughout your escrow process to ensure that your paperwork is in order. So what that means is that you can roll over the gains from one piece of property to another and another without any limits how many times you perform this 1031. And so the very important piece is that you got to focus on the number of days, the first 45 days and the next 180 days. In the first 45 days, you need to designate the replacement property where the second escrow or the second property will receive the cash from the first sale. Keep in mind, you can actually still designate a few properties so long as you eventually close on one of those properties. And by day 180 days, you have to close on that new property. Otherwise, you're likely to pay the taxes. So ultimately, this is a great tax deferred strategy to help build your wealth. If you want to learn more, feel free to reach out to Kenny as well, and he'll tell you more about the strategy. Next slide.
Of course.
So things to consider when you're offering at or above the asking price in this slide. Here is a chart by counties of the average percentage over asking price to factor in your decision making. You can see in San Diego is about 70% over asking, whereas LA is not too far behind at 65% over asking. Then you have San Bernardino, Riverside, City of Orange, about 60% over asking. So if you can actually figure out what your best strategy is when you make those offers, you should be asking yourself if you know what the best if you know what the best way to go for this for your new offers. So the best time to if you're even hesitant on the sideline whether you should enter this market, I always advise them saying, to buy the right house is for yourself, and regardless of what time it is or what market pressure, you still need to find your new place if you need to go for finding the right home. So be prepared. Number one is always reach out to your lender and get a pre-approval letter. Get your proof of funds organized and talk to your realtor on expectations of the offer package before viewing and submitting an offer. Other than that, next slide.
Of course.
Thank you. If you have any questions about 1031 LA market, feel free to reach out to me at my email at alec.tan@centermac.com.
All right, Alek. Alek.tan@centermac.com it is. If you have any questions, feel free to email Alek. So we'll have you back for the conclusion afterwards. Let me give the stage to Jean Riley at the moment. See you a bit later, Alek.
Thank you.
All right, Jean, it's your turn. So give us a brief summary of what you're going to tell us tonight, and then take us into your presentation. Oh, I need to unmute you. Hang on a second. Hello. You are being muted at the moment. Hold on one second. Okay, you are unmuted now.
Hi, everyone. So today I'm going to discuss about the overall market with some key indicators for the month of March. And then I am also going to discuss whether this is a good time to buy because every single my buyer asked me these questions. So I want to at least give you my thoughts. And then lastly, I want to share with you a couple of deals I put into escrow, and one of them I got a under the listing price, which is really unusual, and then the other one we got it. We did need to overbid a little bit to get our offer accepted. So I think by sharing the example, then we can figure out what we could do better for next time. And then lastly, I have a little gift. So I have a little gift to share with you guys at the end. So let me just dive into the overall summary of the market. So Kenny, if you could do the first page of the slide.
All right, it's on the
That's
screen.
the last page.
That's the last page. Let me
That's
go
the
and
last
move to the
page.
first
Yeah,
page.
can we
Okay,
do the
first
first
page.
page?
Yes.
Perfect. So this is San Diego market, and as you could anticipate, we did have higher of the median price sale. That now it's increased to 800,000, and it's increased by almost 20% over the same month last year. So if you didn't buy last year, this year you will be expecting to pay about 18% more. And then one of the things that contributing to the higher cost of the housing, as you might know, is the inventories. You probably already heard about it. This is like it's a broken records. Everybody is telling you it's not enough inventory, and there's not enough inventory. If you look at it, we actually only have 1,404 houses for sale on the market for March. That's a reduction of 50%. So what happened to the other 50%? They are not selling, and that's why the demand drive up the price. And then also the medium days on the market, it's so short. It's only 6 days. Literally, you blink your eyes and the house is gone. So literally, I'm like glued to my computer. I'm looking at every single listing that come on the market, and I know my buyer, they are doing the same thing, because houses are just going pending so quickly if you don't act quickly. And then this is another next one. It's kind of interesting. It says sell to list price is over 100%. It says it's 101.5, but as you know, this is the average across the entire San Diego County. Unfortunately, for many of my buyers who I deal with, we need to overbid by maybe at least 10% to get our offer accepted. So so what's the point of looking at the comp? Well, comp is to give you a starting point, how much you need to go higher. That's why I told my clients, unfortunately, with a market like this. But if you are the sellers, then this is a perfect time to sell. And then lastly, some of the houses do get reduction of the price when they got sold, and that's also something to do with the pricing strategies. We can talk about that a little bit. How to increase the price of the sale. So Kenny, if you could go to the next slide.
Of course.
So the next
Excellent.
slide talk about this is actually the prediction. So this came out towards the end of last year. All the major organizations are predicting what the home price will be, but pretty much everybody is predicting at least 5.9% above all the forecasting. And CoreLogic, which is the lowest one, predicting 2.9%. And I remember it was literally on the headline last year, the end of last year. It says San Diego is going to be the biggest pricing increase for the entire United States. And I remember that, and I think CoreLogic was predicting maybe about 8%. And you know why? I need to tell you they are wrong. San Diego has gone up so much, almost like 20%. So that's crazy. So Kenny, if you could go to the next slide.
Of course.
And it says, it's now the right time to buy. So I want to address that to the buyers. I definitely feel for you, because I do have a lot of clients. They are buying right now, and they're very disappointed, discouraged, and then frustrated, and then want to give up. But so I always, and then they ask me, Jean, should we just not buy right now? Should we just kind of wait it out? Should we rent for another year? Should we buy somewhere else? I will let my buyer know there are actually two questions you need to ask yourself. So the first question is, do you think the price of a house will increase when you want to buy? So the second question is, do you think the interest rate is going to be higher when you want to buy? And so first question is about the price. Second question is about the mortgage interest rate. If you answer to the question with at least one yes, then you should definitely buy. But if the answer for both of the questions are yes, don't hesitate and run and buy. And the reason being, here's a little graph to show you. So this is actually just a scenario. It compared last year versus
You're
this
looking at the
year,
next
and then
slide?
also the
Do you want
prediction.
to look at the
Oh
next
no, the
slide?
same slide. Actually,
Okay.
sorry, Kenny, the same slide. So
Yes.
you talk about last year, this year, and then next year. And this scenario is based on only literally 5% down. I know most of the buyers don't do 5% down, but this example is only doing a 5% down. And so the house price last year is 301 with appreciation of almost 20%. This year, the same exact house will be $350,000. And then next year, we are still predicting there will be an increase of the house price, but just not that much. So it didn't increase that much, but probably less than 10%. So it's 331. And then when you look at the interest rate, last year was 3.5. It kind of came down a little bit, 3.125, and then we are predicting the interest rate is going to go back up. And if you are on the market to buy, you probably already know, the interest rate, fluctuate quite a bit and has kind of went up a little bit, especially for the secondary home market and investment properties. Definitely, you already went up to 3.5 and higher. And then, so when you look at the interest rate with the purchase price, and then you calculate the equity in 2026, using this scenario, if you have bought this year, you will have an equity of almost $120,000. But if you wait till next year to buy, your equity in 2026 will only be 101 because you are going to pay higher for the house and you also have a higher interest rate. And so, as yourself or as your buyer, if whether it's the right time to buy or not, ask yourself, whether you think the price of the house is going to increase and then whether the interest rate is going to increase. And personally, I think the answer is yes to both of them. And that's why I recommended my buyer to buy. And I want to share with you, so Kenny, if you can go to the next slide.
Of course.
So I want to share with you two of the buyers I got into escrow. And then, we can kind of analyze the deal, see whether it makes sense to buy or not. So the first one, by looking at the picture, it's a pretty nice looking house. It was a newer built. It was built in 2002 and has 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, for almost 2,700 square feet. And the buyer, they have been kind of looking for houses with me since last year. So I remember very clearly we start seeing houses right before pandemic. And then when the pandemic hit, we stopped seeing houses because my buyer couldn't qualify for the loan, even if we had found a house for her, because her job, was impacted. So she unfortunately kind of took a break from seeing houses. But lately, for the past maybe a month or so, my buyers start become very, very anxious in buying just because their lease is going to finish up pretty soon and they don't want to be renting anymore. Their rent is more than $3,000 for, I believe, only 3 bedroom townhouse, literally one level of a flat, without garage. So the buyer is paying quite a bit for the rent and they really want to get into the home. So for this buyer, they have very specific criteria. First of all, one newer home, one large spaces, and then also one at least minimally 4 bedrooms. We look everywhere, and also most importantly, school district. And I know a lot of my buyer want good school district, and typically houses in good school district appreciate a lot. And that's why my buyer only have a budget of less than 900,000. It sounds like a lot, but unfortunately, it doesn't buy her the house she wanted in the school district we originally look. So we start looking at different area. We start looking at North County in San Marcos. San Marcos also have one of the good school district. I believe it's a top 3 or top 4 in San Diego County. And then couldn't find anything there, so we decided to move to somewhere else. So we moved to south of San Diego County in Chula Vista. That for me is pretty far, but I do have a lot of respect for my client because I know that for a lot of parents, they want the best for their children. So my buyers, they will not, they will not worry about driving further out to go to their job as long as their, kids can go into the good school district. So they decided to put an offer on multiple houses in Chula Vista. And Chula Vista is what we call South Bay in San Diego County. And some of the places we didn't think would go that high, but it did go that high. So this house, I remember it was not my buyer's top choices, but all the offers we put in all get rejected. And the buyer was like, okay, June, so let's put an offer on this house. And I remember the first things I always do before I start writing the offer is to contact the listing agents. And that's another tip I want to share with our agents, and also if you are a buyer's agent representing buyer, be sure to let the listing agent know you are going to put in the offer. Just because they might be in the process of doing counter offer, or they might be in the process of getting ready to accept the offer. If you call the listing agent, let he or her know you are sending the offer, they might be actually be willing to wait for you. So I think we were really lucky when I called the agents. The agent told me, actually, she told me, you are a little too late. We are doing seller multiple counter offer now. We have one offer we almost ready to accept. And I told her, I say, but you never know, maybe my buyer will have even a better offer for you. So can you tell me what your seller multiple counter offer is? And I was not shy, because I asked her, what are you countering other people? So that way I can address it when I submit the offer to you. And I asked, and she delivered. So she actually gave me the copy of a seller multiple counter offer. And she said, if you deviate from anything I wrote on the seller multiple counter offer, your offer will not be accepted. I need that everything to be on your offer. So I look at it, pretty standard. Shorter contingency. You can do inspection, but we are not going to do repair. We're going to sell as is. And then I think she also counted a price. If I remember correctly, it might be 845,000. So I got the information. I discussed with my buyers, and then my buyers like, okay, can we go and sign it when we get the house? And I told her, not exactly. This is a problem. Well, actually, not a problem. This is something pay attention to when you are doing the seller multiple counter offer. If you sign the way it is, doesn't necessarily mean your offer will be accepted, because this seller multiple counter offer goes out to multiple agents, right? And what if someone is willing to pay higher than the seller multiple counter offer? What if both people sign and they agree to 845? Which buyer will the seller pick, right? So I don't want to give seller that headache. I always tell my buyer, let's just increase our offer, and hopefully we will be higher than other people. And so she asked me how much, and then that was kind of a judgment call, because I think typically I might recommend at least $10,000 or more. But in this case, the agent told me the best offer she has at that time, I believe, was either 840 or 845. So I decided to tell my buyer, just go with 850. And then we signed it back, and we got, very quickly, we got the signature from one of the seller, the husband. And I was following up with the agents, saying, hey, what happened to the wife? We haven't had a signature from the wife. And then the agent is like, oh, the wife, she gave me some excuse. I don't remember the excuse now. But anyway, the wife never signed back. And I was remembering, I was making a joke, they must be going through divorce. If they are not getting divorced, selling this house is going to make them divorce each other. And so we that was kind of what I told my buyer. And I actually have a good hunch, because I kind of think, why are they not on the same page, right? There must be a reason. And if, for me, I typically try to figure out what the other party, what's going on with them, because I think buying a house, it's a negotiation, right? Negotiation is like you are playing chess. I don't know how to play chess, but I know the theory. You're supposed to be anticipating multiple moves the other person will make. So I always try to imagine what's going on with the other party so I can have a better response. So anyway, never got the sign back. And but Kenny, I never give up. I think that's one thing I do. And I think, help many of my buyers is I typically will not give up that easily. I am persistent. I have the grit. So I was following up with the agent very regularly, and most of the time she ignored me. She never even respond to my text, my call. But then I still keep saying, hey, how's going, everything. And then lo and behold, the property was off market. And I was like, interesting. What's going on? And then all of a sudden, a month later, she reached out to me and she's like, does your buyer still want to buy? And I say, of course. And so she said, okay, go ahead and send me the offer. Like, like update the date and with a new date and then send me the offer. So I did. And I sent it back and we were praying. Like I told my buyer, okay, we need to pray really, really hard tonight. We need to, say some good word with the Buddhas or say some good word with your God. Anyway, the next day, we still don't have the signature from another seller. So this time, the wife signed, but the husband didn't sign. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? So I followed up with the agent. The agent told me the husband is kind of changing his mind and he wants us to pay $10,000 or more. And I told the agent, I said that's not the right thing to do because we have already negotiated the price. You originally was going to accept this price. So my buyer is not going to increase the offer. And because I kind of know they were not negotiating with anyone else. Like I was taking a big gamble on this one, but I kind of know they're only negotiating with us at that time. And so the agent didn't really so anyhow, I shared that with my buyer, and then my buyer said, "Jean, give them $10,000. Let's just increase our offer by $10,000." And I was like, I'm trying to save you $10,000, so you could pay me the $10,000 if you really want to pay, additional $10,000. But anyway, that was a joke. So I think my buyer really want that house, and I just keep telling her, I know what I'm doing because I kind of feel like they will accept it. They just need some time. And I'll know the
Hmm.
agent really try to push it too. So my buyer said, okay, so Jim, how about let's just do a meet in the middle? Give them $5,000. It's so funny. It's the buyer asking me to increase the offer, not me asking the buyer to increase the offer. But anyway, we were sitting tight. We didn't increase the offer. Then the buyer's agent tried to negotiate my commission lower it. And Kenny, I use you as a as a excuse to let her know my broker won't agree to it. And
Oh
actually,
yeah.
I don't think that's the right way to do though. Kenny, personally, if everything is already advertised on the MLS, if you need to change anything, that doesn't require the approval because you shouldn't be changing it. That's my, and I think that's also part of the MLS rule too. So anyway,
Yes.
um, I was sitting tight, and then hallelujah, we got the sign offer.
Oh
My
wow.
buyer didn't need to increase the penny. We didn't need to do anything. We got the offer accepted, and
Yes.
we went to do the inspections. And I got to talk to the agent, and I was right. My guess was correct. The seller are the agent's relative, and they are
Oh,
going through divorce after 30 years of marriages.
I
That's
see.
quite unfortunate, but it's they are selling a house, and so my buyer got the house. And this house we did need to go over listing price to get it, but you know why, Kenny? My buyer was so happy because I actually have two buyers, the mom and so mom, dad, so parents and the daughters and the son-in-laws are buying this home. Mom didn't really see the house ahead of time because she need to work. So literally during the inspection was her first time seeing that home. And I was actually quite nervous because what if she hated it, right? What if she didn't really like the house? But she actually told me like how much she appreciated me. She told me the house was much, much better than what she anticipated. And she was so happy, we got the house. So that was a good story. And
That was an
hopefully,
excellent
oh, and
story.
the good,
Yeah.
yeah, and also good thing is, the listing agent did ask us to remove appraisal contingency, and I was really worried because if it doesn't appraise, that means my buyer need to come up with additional down payment, right? And I just literally got the great news this morning. They got appraisal waiver, so no appraisal needed.
Ooh,
Yeah, so that's so
nice.
great. And
Ooh.
that's another thing you can share with your buyer, or buyer's agent if you want to keep this in mind. Typically, I get a lot of appraisal waiver, and I typically ask, like an appraisal or underwriter or someone who is doing the loan related to loan, like how can the buyer get appraisal waiver? And the story I got is, if this house is located in the area with strong market, and it's in the incline market, the increasing market, and then also the buyer has significant down payment. So most of the time my buyer got appraisal waiver when they put at least 30 or 40% down. Then
Mm.
I think I did get a lot of appraisal waivers for my buyers. So that's really great. So that's a great story. And so Kenny, the next stories I want to share,
Yes.
it's this one. We actually didn't even need to go over the listing price. We got it under by how much? 55,000, I think. So this is one of my buyers. The mom bought something with me last year, and this house is for her son. And I have written a couple offer lately for the son, but we were just short a little bit, so we didn't get it. But this is a house I thought they have a great potential, because you know why? When I was looking at the picture, the grass was so tall; they were like half tall as me. And so the front yard was so uncapped, and it also said probate sale. And so lately, I have done a few probate sale. So probate sale, as you know, is someone who owned the house and they pass away without a trust. So you need to go through the probate court. They might have, they might have children, and they might have relatives, but because they don't have a trust, so then the court need to decide for them. They need to have an administrator. So I thought this might be a great opportunity for my buyer to get into the home. And so I contacted the agent. We went to see the house, just as I expected. The house was in horrible conditions. Most of my buyers will run away, but not for this particular buyers. They are very experienced buyers. The family owns multiple homes. I believe maybe 10 properties already. And so this is not their first day of rodeos. They know what they are doing. And in fact, my client was telling me, she said, "Oh, my handyman told me don't buy house that is turnkey. You need to buy houses that need some repair. So I have job to do." So anyway, we need to support the handymen and contractors, right? So this house has I can see there's termite damages. I can see it was like a lot of work to it. This is in North County, San Diego, in Escondido. 4 bedroom, 2 baths, a little, almost 1,400 square feet. It was built in 1960s. I asked the agents, what's the story of this home? And he said they have actually about 15 offers. But our offer just literally got accepted this afternoon. So I'm
All
very
right.
happy for my buyer. Yeah. And the reason we got all offer accepted, I think, again, we wrote a very clean offer. My buyer was not very worried about repair. So we wrote pretty much like the buyer removed the physical inspections, but we still have our our own investigation. So the reason I wrote it that way is I want to protect my buyers, just in case if there's something we discovers, I can still get the escrow cancel. I didn't remove it completely. I still kind of kept something. We did remove the appraisal contingencies. The buyer has 20% down. And here are the things, this particular buyers, she believe we need to borrow the maximum amount of money as possible, because the interest rate is so low, the money is so cheap to borrow. So if you don't borrow your maxima, then you are losing money. So we only do 20% down, but we got our offer accepted. And I asked the agent what was the challenging things he experiences during this negotiation, not with me, but with other buyers agents, because obviously the house was not in escrow until my offer, right? And so the agent told me they do have 5 family members they need to consult before the offer will be accepted. And so 5 people, you have 5 different opinions. And so it will be really difficult to get everybody on board. And also this house was listed, higher in the beginning because the family member believe San Diego is in a very strong seller market. And so they can get top dollar. I think that was actually a wrong strategy for them because I think they priced it too high for the condition of the house. And so kind of turn people off. They are not getting enough showing, at least from my point of view. And then another thing is, I think because they have 15 offer before, I believe the seller were getting really tired. They want to get this into escrow. And so that's another thing I always tell my buyer is like, if we are not the first, let's be the last. Because with being the last, the seller might be getting too tired. And then our offer got accepted, and which we did. So that's kind of the story of this home.
All right, two
And
wonderful
that's my
stories.
the end
Yeah,
of
please. All right,
the end of
and they
the
were all
presentation.
success stories, so that's wonderful. All right, Jean. Oh, good for you.
Thank you.
All right, Jean. Well, thanks for the wonderful presentation. It is time for the conclusion of tonight's market update. Let's go to our original screen. All right, three of us. We changed position, but we are still there. Okay. All right. Now, I just wanted to share with you some of my thoughts about the recent happening. Uh, you know, Listening to both of you talking about, you know, how hot the market is. And the last several days, my Irvine listing experienced two cancellation, which is pretty rare in this market. Uh, so I don't know. I think the condo market is a little different than single family residence. Uh, the first one, the buyer canceled on the ground that she was allergic to the algae in the stream next to the house. That condominium has a man-made stream. So, I mean, the backyard where the patio is right next to the stream, and she's allergic to the algae. So she
Mm.
canceled. Immediately, we have a backup buyer, and immediately we open another escrow. And then a couple of days later, that buyer too canceled. So it is very unusual in this market, but pay attention to things like that. I think, especially in the condo market, things might be changing a little bit. So I will keep watching that. But
So Kenny,
from
do
the
you know why the second buyer
second buyer,
cancel? Yeah,
uh,
do you know why?
I heard rumors that he didn't do too well in the stock market. So I guess the cash was he was having an issue with his cash, with his financing. So
I
that's
see.
the reason that was given. But my gut feeling was telling me that even the buyer was a little shaky. Uh, but those were the two buyers that were willing to pay the price that my seller was asking. Honestly, though, we listed the property a little higher than the market price, but I thought that I could still try it at that in this market. My seller wanted the best price
Mm-hmm.
for herself. So the big question
Mm-hmm.
is, what's the best strategy for a
Mm-hmm.
seller in this market to get the best price? Is it to price higher and then hopefully negotiate down to something that you're happy about, or to start with something a little lower to get a bidding war going, so you hopefully you can get them to bid up to a price that you want. So my first guess is Alec 10. I want to hear what Alec's suggestions for sellers who want to get the best price for their home?
Well, I'll actually go with your option two, where you kind of price it competitively with the market, but with enough cushion below competitive market price so that there's a lot more eyeballs, not only making it hot on other real estate platforms, but they'll also come over and even give you an offer so that you have more working space. But if you ever get into a scenario where you're in this hot market, overpriced with zero offers after your first weekend, then you're in a weaker position where you have to like lower the price. And even before you go ahead and list the property online for everyone to see, there's a lot of preparation work, such as tidying up your home, um, fixing some of the low-hanging repairs, and getting it to photo ready so that at least the sellers can start building that emotion in terms of the preparation and expectation when everyone's ready to go live. So I would say the option two, where you say price a little bit lower and then just wait and see your emails blow up afterwards.
Yeah, I normally prefer the second option. Sometimes we sort of I rarely will go along with my seller, but in this case I did. I think for the simple reason that I thought the market was hot enough where we could price a little higher, and maybe after negotiation we still get a better price than if we start a bidding war and go the other way. But apparently I was wrong on that one. Well, let's see what Kevin has to say. Kevin says, I'm seeing lower listing price and brings bidding war. Yeah, I'm seeing that too. Okay, and he says, well, at the 500, 600, 700 key levels, much chasing going on in East County, San Diego. Of course, it's very hot in that price range, but you have to realize though, the condo market is a little different than the single family market. I think the condo market, it doesn't seem that hot in Irvine. I think single family residence market is still hotter than the condo market. So let's hear what Jean has to say. Thanks for the opinion, Alec. Let's see what Jean has to say.
So I agree with Alec because when I have my listing, I don't think I have ever overlisting the house except maybe two. And that's the things, the seller they were very adamant about listing on specific price. And I just know, like I just know in my guts that might not work. But Kenny, I was like you, sometimes we need to go along with seller. Otherwise we might end up losing the listing or losing the relationship with the seller, ultimately. And so, but I see a lot of houses, if they price too high, for example, my second example today, that was a probate sale. They priced, I believe, almost 600,000. I think high 500s. I believe it was too high because the condition of the home was horrible. If you drive by, the weed was growing as tall as half of me right now. I can't even walk into the house, without fighting through all the weeds, right? And so this type of house, if you overprice it, it's never going to go well. And that's why they reduce it. On the other hand, I have seen some great houses, like for example, actually I do have one unsuccessful example. We didn't even submit the offer. I just know, I mean, it's already, the seller already select a buyer. But that one, I remember taking two different buyer over, and the one buyer was 1 month ago. And then I was actually very surprised that house went back on the market because I know how hot the house was. I was there, there were people waiting, lighting on the street, And so I talked to the listing agents, and the listing agent say, I believe they might have listed 800 something, maybe 850s to begin with, or 825. And he actually told me the accepted offer was $1.04 million. It was
Mm.
crazy.
Well,
And
I
I
want to
say,
share with
but you,
you the listing that I had. Uh, I think I felt like I could still get it sold. we had two cancellations. It's not like we could not get an offer accepted. We got two cancellations.
Of course,
So now we're
of
back on
course.
the market. Now we did have the price reduction once though, because after 2 weeks and there was no offer. So I talked to the seller. We dropped the price by 10K. Immediately after we dropped the price, there were more activities and we got three offers. And out of the three offers, we accepted one. We made one of them into a backup offer. And the third one was so low, she wanted to be a backup offer. I told her the reality. And I know they're still interested, but my seller was not willing to go that low. So now we're back on the market. Uh, Hopefully, things will continue to be hot in Orange County at least. We're in the buying season. Hopefully, we'll get another offer accepted. But
You
there
will.
was a property where uh, if you just take pictures of the outside, it looks really nice. I remember I took photo. I had Justin take some photos for me. I posted it on WeChat. Immediately within an hour, I got three calls based on the three exterior photos that we took because it looks so nice, so attractive. But inside, it's very routine. I mean, you don't see anything upgraded or anything. In fact, it is an older condo. It's like 1980s, so it's an old condo. But I just wanted to share with you this as you answer my question. Okay. Now, Kevin was saying if you're going overpriced, property must be pristine. Of course, I agree with you. I can't say my property was pristine because I wanted to have the cooktop replaced.
Mm-hmm.
It's an old cooktop, but it wasn't too ugly. I felt like, okay, you know what, the owner wanted to leave it there. It's just a small condo. I felt like most buyers will look past that and they'll get their own cooktop anyway. Okay. I don't know. What do you think? I
Was
mean,
it
cooktops are, how important is it for you to recommend to the seller to replace the cooktop?
was it vacant property or the seller still live there?
No, no, it's a family member was living there and he moved out.
Okay, so Kenny, I haven't. I think I actually have replaced cooktop before, but I actually dealt more with refrigerator. So here's things. I don't know why. Fridge is like one of my pet peeves. So you have this very, very nice remodel home, and you have this very, very old, ugly fridge, like yellow. They are not even white. They are not stainless. They are like, yellow in color. And I always tell my seller to get those removed. If we don't want to replace a refrigerator, we can move them to the garage or remove them to a storage or something. And I remember there was one house, my seller fought with me for the longest time. He's like, no, I am not going to move that fridge. And I'm like, I can hire people to move to the garage. He's like, no, I don't want you to touch the fridge. I was like, okay, whatever, we'll just get it listed. And you know why? Everybody hate that fridge. When we got into escrow, that was the first things the buyer requested. I want you to hold away the fridge. Oh, and the cooktop, Kenny, that was a cooktop involved too. So that buyer, it was I think the house was built in the late 1980s or early 1990s. Single level home. I sold it maybe 2 years ago with multiple offer. Lots of buyer came in, but the appliances really was driving people crazy. So I agree with you, Kenny. I think sometimes, even though they are small condos, usually people who buy small condo don't have a lot of budget, right? And so if you
Yeah.
could get that taken care of, I mean, I don't know what type of cooktop that has, but usually if you get something cheap, or or some used secondhand one, once in a while. In fact, Kenny, I have a used cooktop. I can give it to you. I got that from a rental property. I can give it to you. I mean, like, you never know. Like, people have resources. So I do replace things for my client once for a while if I think it's needed and I happen to have the resources to do it. Sometimes I buy it, sometimes I just happen to have it from another property. So
Let me
I
ask
think it
you
will help.
this though. Let me ask you this though. In this hot market, how important is it to replace an older cooktop in order to get a condo sold?
Well, depends on the price point, but I still think it's it will definitely be helpful. You won't believe
Okay.
it, things people
Then the
do
next
to buy
question
a
I have
condo.
for you is now, would you, if the seller is not removing the cooktop or replacing cooktop for the sake of money, would you say to the seller, hey, a cooktop is only about $400. How about I pay for it?
Mhm. Yeah, I did that before many times
And you got
because
your
I
money back.
consider that as yeah, I consider that as part of the cost of doing business. I mean, do I want to negotiate with seller and then draw the seller credit and draw myself credit, or do I just go to Home Depot and pick up something? I usually pick the second options. I usually get things done. I mean, but you can always negotiate to have seller reimburse you at the close of escrow. That might be an option too, right?
No, if the issue comes up, as I was walking through the condo, one of the first few
Hmm.
things I noticed, as you know me, my style is if I list a property, I always invariably have the sellers do three things. Number one, get a new cooktop, get a new refrigerator. Okay, two things. And of course, if the garbage disposal is old, I say to the seller,
Hmm.
replace the garbage disposal. Although it's not visible, it's not
Hmm.
as visible as the cooktop and the refrigerator. If I see old ones, it's pretty automatic. I recommend they do it. Sometimes they say,
Hmm.
yes, Kenny, I agree. Other times they say, no. I'll tell you, I'll share with you one other story. Before the pandemic, I had a
Hmm.
listing in Northern California. It was in El Sobrante. It was an old, very old duplex. It's old. The building is much older than the cooktop, of course. And I recommended to the seller replace the cooktop. They say no, but we were still able to get it sold. We had
Yeah.
a couple of offers. I don't think it is absolutely necessary for you to replace the old cooktop. Although I would have preferred that they put in a new cooktop.
Is it dirty? Besides, it's old.
It could be clean. I mean, any
Yeah, I think
dirty
that's
cooktop
another
could be
thing.
clean.
But
That's
what
another
about the
thing.
rest of the property? Was it aesthetically pleasing on in photos?
I say it's vanilla.
Mm.
It's very
What they
ordinary. I
smell
mean,
like,
there is no smell. That's the
Kenny?
good thing about the apartment. There is no smell at all.
There's no
No smell.
smell.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
smell. It's just
yeah. Smell
the
is another
cooktop
thing
is
turn people
older.
off.
Yeah, the cooktop is older. And what about
Hmm.
the existing beds? They had it. The son was living there. What about that? Would
Hmm.
you ask him to remove it? What would you do about the existing
Remove it.
beds?
You need to remove it because you know why? You want to have a place that buyer feel at home. So having someone's bed there is very personal. And the thing is, you might not feel there's a smell, but I have a very sensitive nose. Every time I
Hmm.
walk in, I can always smell something. So I think that's going to grow some people off. Like some of my buyer, they will if it's a staging furniture, that's a different stories. But usually, if it's a seller's old stuff, I will have it removed. Just gut out everything and have a clean slate. And then, because you never know, maybe the bed has a bed sheet, maybe the color is turn off people. I don't know. There's so many different things. So I would say, Kenny, those out will be something doesn't cost a lot of money, to have it removed. And yeah, I definitely vote for having the furniture removed if they are
Okay.
not good furniture. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Thanks for
and
sharing that thought. Well, thank you, so both
yeah.
of you. Those were wonderful presentations and nice discussion at the end. I totally appreciate that. And of course, you guys in the audience, thank you so much for coming in. I can't tell you how much
Kenny,
I
I have a
appreciate it.
gift.
Oh yeah, Jean has
Check
a
out my
prize to give away.
gift.
Okay, what's the prize?
Okay. This is actually like a seed packages. And it says Earth Day. And the reason I picked that is because every day could be an Earth Day because my clients meant the world to me. So it's a little play on the word. But anyway, this is the bee, and then so if you plant those are wildflowers. You can have hummingbirds, bees, and butterflies. If you text me 858-598-3888, I will mail this to you. I think it's a cute packages. And then bonus one, bonus gift. If you text me and you also guess how old I am, and if you guess it correctly, I'll give you a $20 gift card for Starbucks or any place you want. I just had my
All
birthday
right,
not long
Jean.
ago.
I want to share with you a
Oh,
story,
tomorrow is
okay?
Darby's birthday. Yes, yes.
That little trick that little what do you call that lead magnet or whatever you want to call it that Jean did at the end. It actually worked for her in our last live stream. Somebody in the audience actually contacted her. Was that a invitation to guess your birth date or what was it?
No, she didn't say anything at all. She just literally said, I just watched your live webinars and I have a question about San Diego. And then we just start chatting like by text messages. So that was kind of neat. Yeah. And her daughter is already working, but want to buy a small one-bedroom condo. So we kind of exchange, information about condos there, and the community she want to buy. I'm very familiar with it. So I told
Uh,
her, yeah, having a garage access is very rare, and that's one of the few community has it. So she knows I know what I'm talking about. So anyway, I gave her some good
I wanna
suggestions.
share with you. Jean has been able to attract people to buy homes in San Diego just through presentations like this. So if it works for Jean, it could work for you too. So I want to encourage you guys to come in and share with us your experience. Any recent deals that you had you thought might be interesting, please share with us through this type of live streams. So if you're interested, please contact me. I will put you on the waiting list. Now there is a waiting list, okay, to join the show. I was just kidding. There's no waiting list. So any one of you just want to talk about life in your community or life in the neighborhood that you live in, you're all welcome to share your experience with us. Okay. So with that said, that concludes our presentation for tonight. As you know, we have English live stream twice a month, and they are at 9 p.m. every time. Every other week, we'll have an English live stream. And then Tuesday morning, 11 o'clock, is our daytime live stream. Okay? All right. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. And I will see you guys next Tuesday at 11 a.m. And thanks to all of
Bye.
you. Good night.
Thank you,
Good
everyone.
night.